Don't take pictures, buddy, do you hear me? Friend.
There's a real disaster today in the Russian city of Tuapse. Ukrainian drones have launched a massive attack for the second time on the local port, which helps the Kremlin earn money from oil to continue the war against Ukraine. That's where the oil terminal is located, which means that Ukraine's defense forces are systematically destroying specifically the oil export infrastructure. Meanwhile, American President Donald Trump, by contrast, is lifting sanctions from Russia and allowing it to trade oil. And now Russians are complaining that it's impossible to live in Tuapse because after the strike on the port in the Black Sea, first of all, there was a fuel oil spill, and then a so-called oil rain suddenly fell over the city. At the same time, finally, the fool's dream has come true. That is, Vladimir Putin's dream. Russia is kicking its oil addiction. Rostad reported that due to sanctions and attacks on infrastructure, the share of the oil and gas sector in Russia's GDP dropped to 13% last year. This has already been called a historic low, but the replacement of this income still hasn't happened. Because when Putin dreamed that the share of the oil and gas sector would decrease, he expected, for example, that manufacturing would increase, but manufacturing did not increase. But oil and gas sales, in fact, have dropped. In this episode, we'll discuss with you exactly the consequences of the strikes on Tuapse. My name is Alexei Pechi. Let's discuss this topic together. But before we start, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave any comment under this episode, and subscribe to my Telegram channel Pechi News. The link to it is in the description of this video. There you will also find links on how you can support the work of this YouTube channel. I would be grateful for any of your donations or sponsorships.
I damn well wanted to live by the sea with my child. The whole sea is messed up with this fuel oil, damn it! Everything is ruined! Everything is falling apart, don't you know? You don't even know if you'll wake up alive or if your child will... Laughter. What is there to do here? Honestly, why even live here? That's why I'm upset.
So, overnight into Monday, April 20th, Ukrainian defense forces launched a new strike on the oil terminal in the Russian city of Tuapse, and the commander of the unmanned systems forces of the armed forces of Ukraine, Robert Madjar-Brody, said that units from the unmanned systems forces, special operations forces, and the main intelligence directorate were involved in the attack. The commander of the unmanned systems forces noted that the night shelling was a repeat of the previous strike and that fires at the facility had resumed. Madjar reminded that the Russians had been dealing with the aftermath of the previous attack for the past 3 days, and here is a quote. An encore of the blessed fire to the critically important oil loading facility was delivered on the night of April 20 by a freedom-loving Ukrainian bird. And at night, local residents complained about the shelling of the port in Tuapse. They also reported an attack on the oil refinery. And in the released videos, you could hear drones and air defense systems at work, as well as explosions from strikes on the target. In addition, the footage shows how a fire breaks out after the attack, and thick columns of smoke can be seen above the facility.
You don't need a photo. Then you'll survive. You understand? I think...
Subtitles. And again, everything is burning. They'd only just put it out, and we'd barely started living again. And the pension...
Just put it out, it seemed like everything calmed down, and then again last night they set it on fire. Another hit came, damn. That's what's happening, guys.
The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine confirmed that on the night of April 20, Ukrainian defense units struck 2 important targets of the Russian aggressor. After the strikes on the Tuapse oil refinery in the Krasnodar region of the Russian Federation, a hit was recorded in the tank farm, followed by a fire at the facility. And let me remind you that on the night of April 16, air defense systems were also active in the Krasnodar region of the Russian Federation. The manufacturing plant reported explosions and fires in Tuapse, on the territory of that very port and oil depot. And then it was reported online that at least 2 oil tanks of the Tuapse oil refinery were on fire. Before that, Ukrainian defense forces struck the Tuapse oil refinery on the night of December 31, damaging the primary oil processing unit and the integrated deep processing units for petroleum products. Before that, in November 2025, drones struck the oil loading infrastructure of the Russian commercial seaport in Tuapse, and at that time, local residents reported explosions in the city, and the drone alert lasted for almost 8 hours. But, as you can see, Russia's air defense systems are so powerful and unparalleled that they can't even protect critical infrastructure, because the port in Tuapse is truly very, very critical infrastructure. I'll explain why later. Already during the day on April 20, it was reported that in Tuapse, according to the investigation in Krasnodar Krai, there was so-called oil rain after Ukrainian drones struck the local marine oil terminal. Locals complained that everything around was covered with an oily film and black pellets. Well, basically, these are traces of oil that burned in the air, after which it rained and all of this fell to the ground. And here, it's kind of funny to watch how the Russian authorities act in this situation. At first, in Tuapse today, they cancelled classes in journalism schools and kindergartens, but then they realized this could cause panic, so Rospotrebnadzor reported that there was no excess concentration of harmful substances in the air. Then, apparently, they realized they were overdoing it too, and for some reason they advised locals not to leave their homes, not to open windows, to do more frequent wet cleaning, to rinse their eyes, nose, and throat, and to drink more water. The agency recommended using masks and respirators outside, but otherwise everything is basically normal, and as usual, there are no consequences in Russia. In addition, a large oil slick appeared in the Black Sea near the port of Tuapse. This was after the attack on April 16th. Oil product collection is also ongoing in the Tuapse River, where fuel entered due to the fire at the marine terminal on the night of the attack. At the same time, a fire is being extinguished at the marine terminal in Tuapse, which broke out after the drone raid that night. The fire is being put out. 246 people and 73 pieces of equipment are involved. Earlier, let me remind you, as a result of attacks by Ukrainian drones on ships in the Black and Azov Seas, as well as on coastal infrastructure in the Black Sea near the coast of Anapa, another oil spill appeared. According to satellite images, the area of the spill is 117 square kilometers. Environmentalists estimated the volume of oil products that entered the sea at 300,300 square kilometers. Overall, since March, the armed forces of Ukraine have concentrated their strikes on Russian ports through which oil is exported. The largest ports on the Baltic, Primorsk and Ust-Luga, as well as the oil terminal in Novorossiysk and the port of Tuapse, have repeatedly come under attack. The latter was attacked twice in the past week. Both strikes hit the Tuapse oil refinery, which is the only one on Russia's Black Sea coast and is among the top 10 largest in the country. Its capacity allows it to process up to 12 million tons per year, and this plant is geared entirely toward exports. And now Ukraine is successfully disrupting these exports. But here I should immediately point out an important nuance. On March 30, the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, stated the following: "If Russia is ready not to strike at Ukrainian energy facilities, we will not respond with strikes on their energy facilities." Ukraine is open to various options, particularly an energy truce or a complete ceasefire so that missiles and drones do not attack infrastructure. But the Russians continue to attack peaceful Ukrainian cities and the energy sector in particular, and that's why, in response, something is flying towards Russia itself. I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. If you want to support the work of this YouTube channel, you can do so with any donation or a paid membership. How to do this? All the links and details are in the description of this video. It says there, support Alexei Pechiy's channel. Choose any format that's convenient for you. I will be grateful for any support you provide. That's it for now. Take care. Goodbye, everyone.